So what about Quinn? How would you describe her in one sentence?
She's constantly surprising you.
Welcome to MsMojo. There's nothing worse than seeing a good character kept down by bad writing. But fortunately, we've got the bullhorn and we can do something about it. In our own headcanon anyway. So today we're going back to high school and boosting one Quinn Fabray to the top of the pyramid, where she so rightly belongs.
I'm glad you turned it around. You deserve good things, Quinn.
The character you know. Quinn Fabray was introduced right from the start of Glee as the stereotypical high school queen bee. She's a gorgeous cheerleader, she dates the quarterback Finn Hudson, and she's not very nice.
Time for some girl talk, man hands. You can dance with him, you can sing with him, but you will never have him.
However, Quinn has a problem. Despite her role as president of the McKinley High Chastity Club, she succumbed to a drunken hookup with Finn's best friend Puck and found herself pregnant out of wedlock.
I had sex with you because you got me drunk on wine coolers and I felt fat that day. But it was a mistake.
Almost overnight, her perfect life falls to pieces. Her parents kick her out and she loses all her social status at school. But Quinn goes on to find acceptance among the new directions and grows into a better version of herself during her time there.
I love Glee Club. I love you girls. And when we're 27 or 87, I want us to be able to look back on these next couple months and talk about how it was the best times of our lives.
Throughout the first 2 seasons of the show, Quinn was the main obstacle in the love story between Rachel Berry and Finn Hudson. However, she also ran a gauntlet of her own in a series of plotlines that gradually revealed her to be one of the strongest characters on the show, in spite of significant flaws in the material she was given.
You said funk was about soul and anger. I have plenty of both. Look at me, look at my life. I'm furious.
Where it went wrong. It's hard to dispute that Glee's writing declined exponentially with each season of the show. Though it had introduced a large ensemble cast of characters bursting with potential, it struggled to use most of them effectively.
You're a constellation of stars. I would just hate to think that you might be ignoring some of them because they don't burn quite as obviously bright.
As the series started to rely more and more on jukebox episodes and pop culture fads, the Glee Club itself suffered. Instead of getting satisfying story arcs or even consistent characterization, they were reduced to one-dimensional cutouts being plugged in however it was most convenient for the story of the week.
Tina, you may not always get all the solos, but you were a key player. I put you in charge of costumes.
Wow, like that's some prize. You want props to move around? Well, I'm a human prop, and I'm sick of it.
Quinn's prominent role in the first season made it harder to shove her to the sidelines than some of her fellow New Directioners, but it was pretty obvious that outside of a love triangle, the writers weren't sure what to do with her. Season 2 alone put her in 3 of them.
Just think you can love 2 people at one time?
Not totally. You have to choose eventually.
Not yet.
Quinn alternated between being rivals and frenemies with Rachel as she bounced between relationships with Finn and new arrival Sam Evans. Then Santana eventually targeted Sam both out of spite for Quinn and as a cover for her true feelings for Brittany. All this relationship drama was the backbone of every plot Quinn had across the season.
Nothing can happen between us until I figure out what's going on with me and Sam, and you figure out what's going on with you and Rachel.
In Season 3, the writers took an opposite approach and threw numerous ideas at the wall to see what would stick. Quinn starts out with a new look and a bad attitude that she uses to mask the deeper feelings she's repressing.
So now you're a train wreck. Well, congratulations. But you stride into my office and tell me that it's my fault? Well then, I have something to say to you. Grow up.
When Shelby Corcoran, the adoptive mother of her baby Beth, returns to Lima, Quinn cleans up her act on the outside while she spirals further emotionally. She fixates on getting her daughter back, even going so far as to try and frame Shelby as an unfit mother.
First we plant the stuff, then we call child services, starting in the bathroom.
It could have been compelling, but the plot resolves before mid-season. Quinn goes on to rejoin the God Squad with Mercedes, Sam, and newcomer Joe. While rehabbing from a car accident, she and Joe get closer, but a full-fledged relationship never takes off.
So what is this? You and me?
I don't know. Something new.
Does it seem like we rushed right past that last bit? That's because the show kinda does as well. The entire storyline unfolds over 4 episodes, tying up in a neat inspirational bow at prom.
It's a prom miracle.
Something that should realistically be a major life event is never mentioned again, and doesn't have any lasting impact on Quinn. Its inclusion starts off feeling like a PSA for texting and driving, morphs into another means to explore her love life, and finishes by seeing her use her injury to service her worst impulses.
Wow, that was super creepy.
It won't be when we're standing up on that stage, soaking up the applause.
Don't you feel kind of weird using your injury to get the sympathy vote like that?
Votes are votes, Finn. Do you want to win or not?
Honestly, there's no reason this even needed to be Quinn's plotline. If Glee wanted to have a serious conversation about coming to terms with disability, there are other characters who could have taken up the mantle.
It's not right. It's not right and it shouldn't be like this.
Well, maybe not, but this is the way it is.
Putting it on Quinn after everything else the character goes through feels like tragedy dumping, and it's only made worse by how inconsequential it ultimately is. Unfortunately, it was also the last significant plot arc Quinn had.
I'm going to Yale, and there are no tire store majors there.
She goes off to the Ivy League, making a few trips back to McKinley in season 4 before returning the next year with a snooty boyfriend in tow, and doing her best, once again, to pretend away her past.
How do you cover up the tattoo, you know? Like, what, magic?
I pay my roommate to apply 3 coats of cover-up makeup to my lower back before I see him.
Does he know about us? About Beth?
I will tell him everything when I'm ready.
Of course, the truth eventually comes out. However, Glee's resolution is not to give Quinn a growing moment, but rather the complete opposite. They put her back with Puck, regressing her yet again.
We've never actually dated, so I decided to throw caution to the wind and say yes.
Wait, what?
And that's pretty much it for Quinn. She cameos in the finale, but unlike the other main characters, we don't get any indication of where her future took her. As far as we know, she and Puck are still making out in the choir room.
I really thought I had a shot of getting out of here.
How do we fix it? The most frustrating thing about Quinn's storyline across Glee is how little intention seems to be behind most of it. The pieces of a good arc are there, but so much of it is haphazard and relies on the viewer to do the mental work themselves to make it fit together.
I'm bored. All those in favor of hiring Dakota Stanley?
We don't mind a little mental workout around here. Overthinking pop culture is kind of our thing, actually. But what Quinn's plot really needs is a more focused perspective.
This freshman just gave me a hug and told me to never change. Poor thing is too young to realize that change can be so good.
Given that the most significant element of Quinn's journey is her pregnancy in season 1, it's only natural that everything after would build off of that. Season 2 is mostly about Quinn trying to pretend that it didn't happen.
I'm happy to be back and ready to start fresh. And I'm a lot less hormonal, so there's not really any crying.
We see her putting all her energy into returning to her old life as captain of the Cheerios and hottest girl in school. In that context, it makes sense that she's so focused on her love life. It all feeds into rebuilding the pedestal she fell from in her sophomore year, and allows her to aim all her energy at goals that are inextricably linked to high school, to the exclusion of anything outside.
You're back on the team. I'm head cheerleader again. Some kind of symmetry, don't you think? With all the nastiness between you and I behind us, I think we should be together. We'd be a shoo-in for homecoming king and queen.
Quinn, however, does have very complicated emotions that she's running from. There's anger, guilt, depression, self-loathing, and it all inevitably comes boiling up to the surface.
I just want somebody to love me.
I think I know how to make you feel better.
I'm flattered Santana, but I'm really not that into that.
Though we see Quinn crack a bit in the New York episode, her radical change in season 3 still feels abrupt. It would be better if we could build more organically. For one thing, Beth is only mentioned a few times in passing during season 2, and whatever feelings Quinn is having in those moments, they're not strongly linked to Beth herself.
I'm totally freaking out. Last time we performed in front of an audience, I went into labor. I think I'm having post-traumatic stress disorder.
FYI, I'm totally available to fill in.
Just a few tweaks making a stronger connection between Quinn's behavior and the baby would help this storyline seem more thoughtful. Then, after most of a season laying subtle groundwork, Shelby would return from New York.
You shouldn't have come here with her. I would have been fine. What you did was wrong.
In the show, Quinn's bad girl phase is unrelated to Shelby. She doesn't discover the show choir coaches at McKinley until the 2nd episode of season 3, when she's already deep into her delinquent phase. This should be the incident that pushes her over the edge, though.
I don't want you to go through what I went through. Part of me is back here because
Because I want you to get to know Beth. I want you to be a part of her life.
Shelby should make the decision to move back to Lima late in season 2, maybe helping Vocal Adrenaline in their final prep for nationals. After spending the school year furiously trying to reset her status quo, to have Shelby, and by extension Beth, back in Quinn's immediate reality would make it impossible to pretend her pregnancy away.
What's going on with you? Are you even in Glee anymore?
Did you come here just to torment me with the idea of seeing my child?
Look, I want you to be a part of Beth's life, but not like this.
As originally written, Quinn's all-consuming campaign for prom queen is about fear of the future and general self-image, especially with the subplot about her past insecurities over her appearance.
I had to get a nose job and go on a crazy diet to walk around this school like I owned it. And you just do it.
Adding Beth into the mix would make it a last desperate attempt to maintain an illusion of teenage perfection. Then when Finn rejects her to get back with Rachel, that carefully constructed facade would crumble.
This is your fault. Nobody ever would have voted for me because they know he would rather be with you. That's not true.
Rather than playing like wounded ego, this moment could become the inflection point when all of Quinn's repressed feelings come crashing in on her. As she realizes that she can never be who she was, it would indirectly propel her to create an identity as different to the old Quinn Fabray as possible in response.
I'm not sure what the tipping point was. Dyeing my hair, the nose ring, my ironic tattoo of Ryan Seacrest. But one thing I know, I'm never going back.
Season 3 should be wholly about Quinn's personal journey to come to terms with all of this. No romantic subplots, no car accident.
You guys never understood the pressure I was under. It sucked. I'm not interested in the boys or the makeup or the polyester outfits.
And again, the foundation exists. It makes sense that Quinn would throw off her punk persona and obsess about Beth instead. If she's looking for identity, then Mother is one that seems pretty cut and dried, at least from the outside.
You think you can tell me what to do? Just because you signed a couple of papers? You're not her mom. I'm her mom.
Quinn.
Me.
As a bonus, she sees it as a way to absolve her guilt and provide her with a permanent source of love and validation. The measures she takes to get that role back, though extreme, are also believable for an emotionally unstable teenager who feels lost. But all of that turmoil is mostly resolved after one heart-to-heart with Shelby.
Everything just feels different.
I can't wait to feel different.
Don't wish away your life. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
That's the part that doesn't ring true. It speaks more to Glee's tendency to introduce difficult subjects but then fail to give them the weight or complexity they need.
Look, I know I went a little crazy, but I'm here now.
I'm 17. I have the rest of my life in front of me.
Quinn's recovery should have been a process, not a pivot, and it would have helped if she could have had an adult figure in her life to lean on. Season 1 showed us that her parents aren't reliable. Sue is hit or miss.
I trusted you and you let me down. I don't want you anywhere near my squad. You'll deafen them with the sound of your stretch marks rubbing together.
Will has good intentions, but let's face it, his judgment is pretty questionable. Shelby can offer some wisdom, certainly, but her personal stakes in the situation make her unable to invest fully in what's best for Quinn. If only there were a mental health professional around somewhere.
You know, kids are going to do what they think is cool, which is not always who they are. You just need to find a way to get them out of their boxes.
Yep, this would be a great opportunity to loop in the ever underutilized guidance counselor, Emma Pillsbury. It would also be nice to see her get to do more than pat Will on the back.
I am feeling so Stephen King with these things lately. You know, just so prolific.
That's great, Em.
While her endless litany of pamphlets are played for laughs, Emma cares deeply about her job and always gave good advice when she was allowed to. Plus, she has grounds for a pre-existing relationship with Quinn from her tenure as Celibacy Club sponsor.
Before we begin, I would just like to start by congratulating you by reminding you not one member of this club has had an unwanted pregnancy in almost a year. You get tensies for mensies.
In Emma, we think Quinn would have found someone capable of helping her navigate her emotional journey, while also showing the importance of asking for professional help when it's necessary. And in building a relationship with Emma, Quinn might find some inspiration for her path forward.
I think I was just stuck focusing on everything I didn't have and none of the stuff that was good. Stuff in the future.
Quinn has a compassionate streak that asserted itself pretty early on. Back in Season 1, before she was truly friends with most of the New Directioners, she still made an effort to help Mercedes through her issues with food.
Why are you being so nice to me? I can't remember the last time you said 2 words to me that weren't you and suck.
'Cause I was you. Scared. Hating myself for eating a cookie.
In the seasons that followed, Quinn repeatedly went out of her way to help the people around her, even one she wasn't always the most fond of, like Rachel. At her core, she is shown to be a deeply caring individual. Having been helped through her own doldrums by Emma, we think she would see how valuable it is to develop those instincts in lieu of giving in to self-destruction.
I wasted so much time hating myself for the stupid mistakes that I made. But the truth is that without all of those, I never would have dreamed this to be my future.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. In the show, Quinn goes off to Yale School of Drama, but we imagine her making a change in majors early on. We think psychology would have a particular draw for the reformed mean girl, and because she's nothing if not a high achiever, postgraduate work seems inevitable.
Say about me. Come say about me. Say about your baby.
We envision Quinn excelling in graduate school, finishing with honors and a PhD, or maybe she could even get a divinity degree and merge faith and counseling as a pastor, which frankly she would be great at.
You have to look at the hard topics and dilemmas and be honest and truthful. If you ask me, that's what being Christian is really about.
In our prologue, she's happily single for the moment, but open to finding love in her own time and on her own terms. She stays close with some members of Glee Club, notably Mercedes, and the rest of the unholy trinity, but she's mostly grown beyond her life in high school. When she does go back to McKinley to visit, it's for Career Day, when she shares with the students how she's in the process of starting a program that integrates traditional forms of counseling with art expression, including, and especially, music.
Who would have thought I'd end my McKinley days where I started, back on top?
So what do you think? How would you change the story of Quinn Fabray? Let us know in the comments.
We totally don't think you'll screw it up this time.
Here's the thing, it's gotta be perfect.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.